let's make one of our favorite meals, which is pasta e fagioli, or pasta fagioli, or pasta fazool. It has many names. Different people call it different things. But either way, it's delicious. And we're going to start with 6 to 8 strips of bacon or pancetta. Pancetta is a little harder to find, so most of the time I just use bacon. Italians out there, don't shoot me for that. Pancetta isn't always easy to find around here. And when you do find it, it's much more expensive than bacon. So you want to saute that bacon or pancetta up in about 2 to 3 tablespoons of olive oil. You want to make sure that if you do use bacon, that it's actually a very lean bacon. You don't want it to be really fatty, because you don't want to add a lot of fat to your soup. And you want to fry it till it's nice and done, like this is. Now we are going to add 2 sprigs of fresh rosemary. I'm using big sprigs. If you do not like rosemary that much, you can just use one. And if you do not have fresh, you can use dried. I have used dried before. It works just fine. But just be aware that it's not going to be as good as fresh. I'm also adding 2 bay leaves. Now we are adding 1/2 cup of chopped onion, which I chopped earlier in the day. That's the awesome thing about this meal. You can actually do a lot of stuff earlier in the day. I chopped all my veggies earlier in the day, put them in a Ziploc bag, put them in the refrigerator. Now, if you do that, I will tell you, store your onions separately in a separate bag away from your other veggies, because otherwise everything will taste like onion. Now we are going to add about 2 cups of small chopped carrots and about 1 cup of small chopped celery. Now, as you can see in the pot, I have chopped them very small. You want everything chopped smaller for this. Now, you want to let these cook until they are starting to get tender. Now, the thing about fagioli is there are 2 ways of making it. There is a red version and a white version. The red version obviously has tomatoes. The white version does not have tomatoes. I am showing you how to make the white version. I have had both. I have made both. After trying the white version, I have never went back to the red version. So, you can make that call for yourself. Now, you want to, of course, these vegetables don't come seasoned, so you want to season them up really good with a couple of good pinches of salt and some fresh cracked black pepper. And instantly, with the rosemary and everything, everything smells amazing. Between the bacon, the olive oil, the veggies, and the rosemary, it just smells amazing. And I'm about to make it smell even better, because I am adding 6 cloves of minced garlic. I don't actually mince mine, I actually grate it on a microplane, because it makes it much easier. So it's about to get even more fragrant. So you want to stir in that garlic and let it go until it's nice and fragrant. I'm doing all of this in an enamel cast iron Dutch oven. That's what seems to always work best for me when it comes to making soups. If you don't have one, I'll leave a link in the description below. This one is not La Creuset. It's a lot cheaper. It's about 1/3 of the price. Well, maybe, I think it's even less than 1/3 of the price. But I'm doing all of this on about medium heat, because you don't want to burn your garlic. Because if you burn your garlic, it will ruin your whole dish. So now we are going to add in our beans, because for those of you who don't know, pasta e fagioli means pasta and beans. So, of course, you have to have beans. Now, I am going to tell you to use 2 to 3 cans of cannellini beans that you have drained and rinsed. You will notice when I show you these do not look like cannellini beans. These are brown tan colored, not white. These are bordelado beans that we grew here. For those of you who don't know, we raise a lot of food here. We have another channel called Art of Creation Homestead, if you want to go check it out, where we show about our life with chickens and growing vegetables on a small space. Now, these bordelado beans are actually used a lot in Italy and a lot in pasta e fagioli. But they are very hard to find here unless you grow them yourself. So, I would recommend, unless you have grown some of these bordelado beans, I would recommend using about 2 to 3 cans of cannellini beans, depending on how many beans you want in it. Now you're going to let this cook until your carrots and celery start to become a little more tender. They don't have to be fully tender because everything's going to cook for a little longer. Which, this should only take about 5 minutes. So now everything's not getting nice and tender. So now I'm going to add 6 cups of chicken stock. Now at this point you want to be sure and taste the broth so that you see if it needs more seasoning. And after tasting it, I feel like it needs just a little bit more seasoning. Now you want to let this come to a nice bubble, and then once it has come to a light boil, you want to turn it back on medium low to low, depending on how hot your stove gets. You want it to be a very light bubble, just like a simmer type bubble. And you want to let that simmer about 15 to 20 minutes so that all your vegetables and everything have a chance to get fully tender before we add the pasta. Now everything's all nice and tender. Because I am using an enamel cast iron Dutch oven, it took a lot less than the 15 to 20 minutes. It took more like 10 to 12 minutes. So now we are going to add our pasta. And what I am using is ditalini. It can be a little hard to find, so if you can't find it, you can use any small cut pasta that you like, but these work the best. You want to use, of a 1 pound box, you want to use about 1/3 of a 1 pound box. I just eyeball it. So now you want to let this cook for about 8 to 10 minutes until your pasta is nice and tender. Now this beautiful pot of comfort is done. And as you can see, it's nice and thick. If you've never had this before, don't expect it to be soup-like. It's more stew-like. It's nice and thick, and if it gets even better the next day, but the next day it gets even thicker, which honestly is just fine. We like to serve ours with a sprinkle of Parmesan cheese and a little drizzle of extra virgin olive oil. You can serve it however you like. That's the way we like it, and we usually also like it with a nice crusty bread. But remember, take out the rosemary stems and the bay leaves. You don't want your family chewing on those. Now, if you accidentally lose a bay leaf in there and can't find it, whoever finds it in their bowl of soup has to do the dishes. That's the rule. Now, no matter what, just enjoy a bowl of comfort, because that's what this is a bowl of pure comfort. And remember, come back next time to Angela K's Kitchen, where I take you from gourmet to everyday and everything in between. God bless.
This is an amazing bowl of food right here. I can promise you that. I haven't even tasted it yet, but I know it is. It also looks like it's really hot. Okay, actually I know it is because the bowl is really hot. I had to get a pot holder underneath this bowl because the bowl's so hot. So I'm going to do my best to not harm myself while I take a bite out of this. Okay. Now, you can laugh if you want if I make a weird face. Blow on it first. Right. I'm so scared because I hate burning my mouth. I hate it. So good. I adore this food. It is delicious. Now granted, the beans in ours has a richer flavor, honestly, because it's bordelado beans. We grow them because I'm addicted to them. Let me just be honest with you. Like, I could grow so many of them. Well, this dish itself, even with cannellinis, Angela Kay used to make it with cannellinis years ago before we ever started growing those. And even with just regular cannellinis that you get at the store, it is so good. It is delicious. Everybody should have it at their table at some point in time. Delicious, nutritious. For us, it's 2-night meal. I mean, honestly, it's an amazing, flavorful, aromatic, comforting dish that if you've never tried it, you really need to, because I'm gonna tell you something right now. The way Angela Kay does it, it's amazing because she can really cook, y'all.